Good evening, everyone, and welcome into another exciting edition of Golden Eagle Sports Report. I'm Jack Phillips.
And I'm Molly Gretzlock. Both lacrosse teams are coming off successful weekend performances, and Marquette Golf's spring season is officially underway.
On the other hand, both basketball teams are facing some adversity after a rough couple of games. We've got plenty to discuss, so get ready, Marquette Nation, because Golden Eagle Sports Report starts right now.
Slam dunk! Oh, that's a poster. Live from the Jeannie Hayes Virtual Studio at Marquette University, this is Golden Eagle Sports Report.
Marquette gets the rebound, and the champions have gone down.
To kick things off, Marquette Golf wrapped up their tournament appearance in Puerto Rico this past week.
The team tied for 10th place in the Puerto Rico Classic that took place at the Rio Mar Country Club River Course.
First-year Aiden Lafferty and junior Hunter Eichhorn each carded final rounds of 2 under 70.
Lafferty finished the tournament tied for 13th place at 4 strokes under par. This is Lafferty's first time leading the squad in his collegiate career.
The Golden Eagles aren't back in action until March 20th, when they will travel to Eatonton, Georgia for the Linger Longer Invitational.
Now looking over the women's basketball team, they had a rough start to their road trip this past weekend.
The Villanova Wildcats were hungry for a win, and they pulled off a 61-47 upset over the Golden Eagles.
The Golden Eagles suffered a sloppy first half, shooting 30% from the field and turning the ball over 13 times.
Maria Gadeka supplied the Wildcats with 21 points, shooting 9 for 13 from the field.
And while Marquette didn't have many bright spots, junior Selena Lott still managed to put up 13 points for the Golden Eagles.
Despite Marquette's 8-0 run to end the third quarter, Villanova managed to pull away with the victory.
After that devastating loss Friday night, the Golden Eagles were able to turn things around Sunday afternoon in Washington, D.C.
It was a second-half surge that gave Marquette a 76-56 win over the Georgetown Hoyas.
Selena Lott led the way once again, putting up 18 points for the Golden Eagles.
Althea Anderson and Warren Van Klunen each put up double digits for Marquette as well.
The Golden Eagles remain in second place in the Big East standings with a half-game lead, and the team looks ahead to the senior day Sunday afternoon against DePaul.
With that, we now want to welcome in one of our women's basketball analysts, Jackson Gross. Jackson, always a pleasure having you on, man.
So glad to be back on. I think it's been like 3 weeks in a row.
3 weeks
now,
in a row?
So
You're becoming a natural.
Exactly.
You're a veteran at this point.
Yeah, let's go.
Well, let's just jump right into it. Marquette actually started their weekend with a tough loss against Villanova. Now, remember, Marquette had defeated Villanova earlier this year. So comparing the two games, what went wrong for Marquette in this past game?
Two major things happened for the most part. The first one, and obviously most important, the big disparity between three-point shooting. Marquette shot 1 for 12 from the three-point line. Izzy Spagnola, 0 of 7, all of her attempts from downtown. So that was the main thing. And then conversely with Villanova, they shot 10 for 27. Not great, but considering the other side only scores 1 3-pointer, you're looking pretty good there. And then the other thing earlier was like turnovers. Like in that graphic, there was 13 turnovers for Marquette in that first half. Just a really sloppy effort, not holding on to the ball very well, and just something they're really going to have to improve upon, at least for this Sunday.
And safe to say it was just a game to forget for Marquette.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, now just 2 days later, they actually did a complete 180, crushing the Hoyas. Actually, 3 players put up double figures for that team. What does this say about Marquette's depth on the offensive end?
What it really says is that when everyone is getting going, they have enough players where they can pretty much take on anyone in the conference. I mean, when you have Selena Lott, Lauren Van Klunen, Izzy Spagnola all contributing in ways that they usually do, you're pretty much guaranteed to win, because it's hard to stop 3 players from getting double-digit figures for every game, and you're going to end up leading 2 other people open, and they're going to score. So it's kind of pick your poison there with that kind of thing.
And one player that's really been leading the way for Marquette has been Selena Lott. She actually put up 13 points on Friday, 18 on Sunday. How important is her health going to be if Marquette looks to finish the season strong and head into Big East tournament in a safe way, I guess?
Well, she's going to be absolutely huge, just because she has, as you said, kind of had a little bit of an injury issue for the most part. But when she does play, she leads that guard spot fantastically. She's that veteran, consistent leader who you can guarantee at least 15 points on most nights. in the Big East and heading into the tournament. So she's going to be really huge, and she just brings veteran leadership. Obviously, we've talked about all year they lost a lot of key pieces that graduated or other means. So having her still around is a huge help for them.
And obviously, it's not just Selena Lott. You look at players like Van Clunen, Izzy Spingold, like you mentioned before. They've all been good, but Selena Lott has definitely been one of those leaders on the team.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
And Marquette, they returned for their final regular season game against the number 16 ranked DePaul Blue Demons. That'll be on Sunday afternoon. What do the Golden Eagles have to do to pick up a win against DePaul? Because remember, back in December, they opened up Big East play with a loss in Chicago, so they have a chance to finish strong in their final game of the season.
So what they're really they're going to have to play their best game of the year. I mean, you're talking about the best team in the Big East overall, and they're the only team in the Big East that's ranked at this point, which to me is a little surprising. But overall, you're just going to have to play a clean game. You can't have the turnovers like you did against Villanova, and you're going to have to realize if the three-point shot isn't falling, to stop taking it, because obviously that game against Nova, 1 for 12, you got to start realizing, okay, it's not falling, let's drive, let's get fouls, and then we can start getting more into the rhythm of shooting those three-pointers.
And obviously, again, DePaul, best team in the Big East. I know Villanova just beat them recently, but it's going to be a fun game regardless in the Al McGuire Center.
Yeah.
And Jackson, it's in a little over a week. As hard as this is to believe, the Big East tournament commences in Chicago. Yesterday's win actually gave Marquette a first-round bye, so they won't be playing until Saturday in the quarterfinals. Do you see Marquette making a little bit of a Big East tournament run?
I see them pretty much going all the way for the most part. I actually went through the whole bracket today, and I'm going to skip the rest of it because if we go through it, we're going to go over, and I don't want to do that. But basically, in the final, I have Marquette against Creighton because
you have them in the championship.
Yeah, I have Marquette
over DePaul.
Yeah, I
Wow.
mean they wouldn't have to play DePaul throughout the entire tournament unless it was in the final. And I think DePaul's really been struggling. They just lost to Nova. They had another loss earlier on. And it's really up to anyone at this point. Like, any team can win. I was looking through everyone's schedules, and they're like all 1-1 against each other. So I wouldn't be surprised. And if it does come down to Marquette versus Creighton, I'm picking Marquette to win.
Well, I mean, it's going to be bold because remember last year they lost to DePaul in the Big East Championship. I'm not going to necessarily count out DePaul, especially after Villanova just beat that team. But regardless, anything can happen, so we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's unless for at least the bottom 4 seeds, 7 through 10, any of the top 6 could win. So it's going to be really fun to watch. It should be a fun weekend in Chicago.
Well, I don't call it March Madness for a reason, but thanks for being here, Jackson. Really appreciate the time.
Awesome. It's great to be back.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break, though. When we come back, we're diving into the exciting weekends for both the men's and women's lacrosse teams. So don't go anywhere, because Golden Eagle Sports Report. We'll be right back.
This is the story of a boy who is very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. It made him feel uncomfortable. One day, he found out he had something called autism. His family got him help. And slowly, he learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
So, I just moved in with this family, and it's embarrassing. The little one, he likes to go outside and crawl around in the giant litter box. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, I was born and I knew how to use the litter box. Look at that. That's disgusting. Oh, poop already. You're making me nervous. Oh, okay, I can't look at this anymore. I really hope he grows out of this, for his sake.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb. But if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Underage drinking and driving. The ultimate party foul.
Welcome back to Golden Eagle Sports Report. Once again, I'm Jack Phillips.
And I'm Molly Gretzlock. Now turning our attention to the Marquette lacrosse teams. Both teams were in action this weekend, so let's take you through all 3 games one by one.
The women's team had 2 games this weekend, winning them both here at home.
And their first game took place Friday afternoon, and as Amy Galashewski found out, the team turned the page after their bad loss against Louisville.
After 3 straight losses for Canisius, the Golden Griffins traveled to the Dome at Valley Fields, and they're hungry for a win. But they are no match for Marquette's second-half surge Friday afternoon.
Yeah, that was huge. We needed that. I think Emily Cooper did a great job on the draw, and Ellie Henry did a great job for us to just do little things in order to get us that ball. Once we had possession, we were in good shape, but the runs that Canisius went on, we had trouble getting the ball off the draw, and that hurts us.
Junior midfielder Emily Cooper comes into the game never scoring a collegiate goal before, and she leaves the game with a hat trick and 6 draw controls.
Honestly, I think it's more my teammates than me. I think this is probably the closest team I've been a part of, so just the connections off the field has transferred on the field, which is just, it's a great thing to be a part of.
Senior Megan Menziber and sophomore Lydia Faust joined Cooper, each putting up a hat trick as well. In the cage, Horning and Leva split halves, combining for 12 saves on the day. Marquette's next challenge comes this Sunday, where the Golden Eagles will host East Coast opponent Niagara. Reporting from the Dome at Valley Fields, Amy Galashewski, Marquette Wire Sports.
Then the men's team took the field on Saturday against Detroit Mercy in Pontiac, Michigan.
The Golden Eagles set a program record for goals scored in a game with a victory of 18-6.
Marquette notched 3 hat tricks on the day, coming from senior attack Ryan Fazio, senior midfield Peter Henkhaus, and first-year midfield Chris Kirschner.
First-year attackers Jake Stigman and Griffin Fries each added 2 goals as well.
With the huge win over Detroit Mercy, Marquette now stands at 3-1 on the season and looks ahead to next weekend where the team will face Drexel in Philadelphia. Now switching gears back to the women's team, they played again yesterday at home, defeating Niagara 16-6.
Marquette got multiple goals from multiple players, leading to a very impressive offensive showing.
It was a matchup between the Golden Eagles and the Purple Eagles, and as I found out, there could only be one winner in the Battle of the Birds.
In a Battle of the Birds, one team soars and another falls.
I think our team had a good energy coming in. We've played a lot of games in short amounts of times, and they're just really great energy, really great connection. Different people are stepping up in different moments, both offensively and defensively, and that's what you need to be successful.
In the Golden Eagles' 16-6 win over Niagara, the squad completes the weekend sweep, with one player leading the way, scoring 4 goals Sunday afternoon.
It was really exciting, yeah. I think it's just we have so much trust on our attack all over the field, really, but we make mistakes, we get the ball back for each other, and we keep going.
Marquette now plans to escape the frigid weather, traveling south for a matchup with the Arizona State Sun Devils. And Coach Black knows that her team will have their work cut out for them.
Arizona State's going to be really tough, so I think we have to just continue to build on our strengths, but also fine-tune some of that little stuff. Fouling on defense, we got to limit that. We have to have a little bit more discipline on offense, and tighten it up a little bit down there, and then we have to continue, obviously, winning draw controls.
Reporting from the Dome at Valley Fields, Jack Phillips. Marquette Wire Sports.
We now want to welcome in one of our Marquette lacrosse analysts, Dan Abington. Dan, thanks for coming on the show.
Molly, I'm excited to talk some lacrosse today.
Well, let's get started. First, let's start in that women's team. They picked up 2 huge wins this weekend. What stood out to you there?
Everything worked great for Marquette this weekend. They had 2 opponents that they knew were going to be tough, but they really came out and their offense was firing on all cylinders. And I think one big thing is they switched goalies in both halves in both games, so they had a lefty goalie and a righty goalie in different halves, and that really helped them out on the defensive end because they had a different goalie and a vocal goalie in both halves. I think the defense was really able to stand on its head as a result.
Yeah, that's interesting. 2 different goalies there. The team scored 18 goals against Canisius. Who stood out to you on the offensive side the most there?
It was actually a really interesting day for Marquette because Emily Cooper, who actually takes the draw controls most of the time, ended up scoring 3 goals. So that was a really interesting offensive dynamo for Marquette that they weren't really expecting. And there were a lot of players that contributed pretty heavily in all games this weekend. Lydia Faust looked really good in that Canisius game especially. Megan Menzuber obviously always has been a fantastic presence for Marquette on the offensive end. So, I mean, there were just a lot of different players that stepped up, and I think overall it wasn't one person, but it was team offense.
Yeah, then the team managed to put up 16 goals on Sunday. What is clicking for that offense so well?
Simply ball movement. They're moving the ball around. They're getting different looks for different players. Hannah Greving's getting looks inside. Caroline Steller is initiating from X, as is Shea Garcia. They're just moving the ball around so well, and a lot of that goes back to Megan Menzuber and this senior leadership that she brings. She makes some passes that are incredible. She finds players wide open on the inside. This team really this weekend just did a fantastic job of finding open players, finding somebody that wasn't as heavily guarded as some of the stars on this team. And that's one thing that this team has that last year's team didn't. It was always Grace Gabriel and Charlotte McGuire that were getting the ball. And this year, they can go to so many different players at any time.
Okay, switching over to the men's team. They set a record for goals on Saturday. What does that achievement mean for the program?
I mean, if you ask the coaching staff, they're going to say it doesn't mean anything because Coach Stimmel, Coach Poilon, Coach Richard, they're all really, really humble guys. But this was an incredible performance by Marquette. Without midfielder Connor McClellan, who is the leading goal scorer on the team, he's likely the team's offensive. He's where the entire team starts on offense. So without Connor McClellan, without Garrett Moya, who's on the top midfield line, Marquette puts up 18 goals. It was just incredible overall because you have so many first years on this team: Jake Stegman, Griffin Fries, Chris Kirshner, Devin Cowan, and they looked like they were seniors. This looked like a team that is led entirely by players that have been playing for 4 years. And that starts with Ryan Fazio, who was named to the Big East Weekly Honor Roll this week. Number 6, senior. He has been spectacular, and this game showed that.
Yeah, and then the team plays this Saturday at Drexel University. How can they keep up the momentum and get another win?
First of all, I have to say that I am super jealous of all the lacrosse players because they're getting to travel to my home city of Philadelphia this weekend to take on Drexel. I could not be more jealous of any players on the team getting to travel to the city of brotherly love. It's going to be a tough game. Drexel is a tough team to play. Even though they don't have the best record this season, they're good, and especially on their own home turf, it's going to be tough. So I think some of the keys for this game, Marquette's going to need some varied offensive attack again. They're going to need Fazio to score, McClelland, Hankhouse. They're going to need so many different players to step up on offense. And then when you go to the defensive side of things, you need Mason Woodward to step up, you need Zach Granger, you need goalie John Holzman to really stop anything that comes his way, to communicate well. And then Thomas Washington needs to be good at the face-off X because he struggled a little bit this season. And if you're not winning possessions at the X, you're not going to win a game.
Yeah, sounds like it's going to be a whole team effort to
Absolutely.
get that win. So, well, it's time for another short break. Thank you again for coming on the show. And don't change that channel because we will be discussing the latest Marquette men's basketball action when we come back, right here on Golden Eagles Sports Report.
Sometimes the things we do or say can make others feel hurt, excluded, or isolated. Everything you say and do creates an impact.
How am I supposed to save the whole world?
You can't think about saving the world. You have to think about saving one person.
Because of you, someone's entire life can change. You don't have to be a superhero to have a positive impact.
Friends?
Friends.
Action!
Look at you. You're at the top of your game. You're unstoppable. Nothing can throw you off track. Wait, is that your car? Uh-oh. Yeah, I saw that coming. That will throw you off track. You're looking at around 10 grand in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Let's try this again. Smart move. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth without any bread and kissed them all soundly and put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org.
Welcome back to Golden Eagles Sports Report. It's now time to catch up on the latest news surrounding the Marquette men's basketball team.
And while there's plenty to discuss regarding the squad, it hasn't necessarily been the prettiest week for the Golden Eagles.
Starting off for then number 19 ranked Marquette, the team hosted the number 15 ranked Creighton Blue Jays Tuesday night.
The Golden Eagles had a horrendous shooting night from behind the arc, notching a mere 24.2% and losing 73-65.
The final score may appear close, but as I witnessed within Fiserv Forum, the result of the game was never really in doubt.
Home court advantage does not apply in Big East play, as the number 15 ranked Creighton Blue Jays handed the number 19 ranked Marquette men's basketball team its second straight loss.
They got a couple wide open threes after we made a basket. You know, that just can't happen. I mean, especially when you spend a week talking about not allowing that to happen. But again, it's hard to simulate how fast they push the ball. I mean, they're probably the hottest team in our league right now. You know, they're really playing well, and they outplayed us today.
In the second matchup of the season, the Golden Eagles' revenge attempt falls just short, losing 73-65 in Milwaukee. And despite senior guard Marcus Howard's constant attempts to fuel his team's offense, one Blue Jay has other plans.
We've done a good job in both games of trying to make Marcus work without putting him on the free throw line, and that's been a big key. But Tyshawn Alexander is a really, really good defender, and if you go back and you look who he's guarded and what they've done in comparison to what they've done on the season, their averages, he's been the best defender from a effective field goal percentage in our league, and it's not even close.
It may be a tough loss, but another chance for revenge awaits, as Marquette travels to Providence for a battle with the Friars. And the squad's mentality is the same as every other game.
The move's next play. You know, we have a big game coming up against Providence. It was a great opponent. I think they're coming off a big-time win last time I checked. So our move is we're on to Providence. You know, we got to get back to the drawing board. You know, we have a lot of opportunity to get better going into this game and just going into the postseason as well, you know. So our goal is to get better every day, you know, and obviously we have that mentality where, you know, next play, you know, we're looking forward to Saturday.
Reporting alongside Shane Hogan from Fiserv Forum, Jack Phillips, Marquette Wire Sports.
My apologies.
The Golden Eagle woes didn't stop there, as the team traveled out east for a battle with the Providence Friars.
The hostile environment proved to be too much for Marquette, losing 84-72 in the Dunkin' Donuts Center.
Senior guard Marcus Howard had another incredible scoring surge, dropping 38 points and snatching 3 steals.
Redshirt sophomore guard Greg Elliott was another bright spot in the loss, totaling 10 points and corralling 3 boards.
The Golden Eagles have now lost 3 consecutive games in a row and fall to 7-7 in Big East play.
The squad now returns home for one of its final 2 home games of the season as the Georgetown Hoyas visit Fiserv Forum Wednesday evening. With that, we now want to welcome in one of our men's basketball analysts, Nicholas Galley.
Ooh.
Nick, thanks for being here, man. You like the formal?
Going with the formal name. I
was feeling it today. I feel like we've never introduced you like that.
I know,
so
it's good. It's good. It's nice to mix things up a little bit, so I respect it. You know, use it whenever you want to. Use it more. I don't care, but I like it. Keeping things original. Let's keep it going.
First off, what were your overall thoughts for the team's loss against Creighton?
Yeah, that was a really tough loss, and Creighton is a really good team. They're the best team in the Big East right now. There's no doubt about it. Marquette just could not stop that duo of Tyshawn Alexander and my homegrown boy, Marcus Zagorowski, the man, the myth, the legend. Big East Player of the Week as well. So he had a great game against Butler yesterday, 25 points, 7-7 from 3. So he's a real deal. He was really efficient in that game against Marquette too, 17 points, 7-11 from the field. And then Tyshawn Alexander obviously had 22 points. He was kind of that main focal point of that Creighton offense and defense. Did a great job shutting down Marcus Howard. So that was a big thing. Marcus Howard really couldn't get going, and it was because of that defense from Alexander. So when Marcus Howard doesn't get going, this Marquette team struggles, and we saw that against Creighton.
I'm glad you brought that up because it's pretty safe to say that Marcus Zagorowski was the much better Marcus on the court as Marcus Howard.
I'm telling you, Jack, you can't doubt the mass guys. You really can't. I mean,
you're a little biased.
I know, I'm a little biased. No, I'm fully biased, I'll admit. But we're a different breed, Jack. I mean, not me, because I'm 5'7", and I didn't make it past, high school basketball. But Marcus Zagorowski, he's a different breed. I'm saying it.
He's definitely a different breed compared to Marcus Howard, who had a pretty rough shooting performance. I believe he only had like 22%, 13 points, one of his rougher performances in Big East play. Do you think his poor shooting really impacted the team's loss?
No doubt about it, Jack. No doubt about it. And let me hit you with some stats, some deep analysis here over the past month. Marcus Howard shooting 36%, and 28% of his points have come from the free throw line. So that's telling you right there that if more than a fourth of your points are coming from the free throw line, you're struggling from the field. There's no doubt about it. And free throws are really saving him right now. That's why the scoring numbers are still as high as they are. But yeah, his shooting has been really rough over the past month of play, over the last 7 games or so. So he needs to get in a rhythm. He needs to get in a groove. We know he can get in a groove. We've seen it. But he just hasn't been able to hit that groove. Could be with the injury he's dealing with to the face. You know, that mask might mess him up a little bit. But he's definitely been struggling from the field, no doubt about it.
And they went to Providence, had another loss there. What were your takeaways from that one?
Yeah, again, a tough game, and Marquette got down early, and it was just tough to fight back. And that one, again, Marcus Howard, he went off for 38 points, but 10 of 25 from the field. You know, he just hasn't been efficient. That's a big thing. He's still scoring, but the efficiency numbers are really low, and that's been tough for this Marquette team. So a tough loss in a game I thought they should have won, but they really needed to win that game because I know last week I mentioned that Providence was one of the games that they should get the win, and they didn't. So that's a big loss, and it's really going to hurt them coming down the stretch here.
And it's been a long season so far. Marquette 7-7 in Big East so far. One player that's been pretty inconsistent has been Kobe McEwen. You know, he's had some flashes, but he's had a couple rough performances. How crucial is his performance going to be for Marquette if they want to finish the season strong?
Yeah, I mean, I really like Kobe McEwen as a player, but he's just been so inconsistent. So I think he's going to be one of those guys that has to take pressure off of Howard if they want to do, you know, good over these next few games to end the season here. And Kobe McEwen, we've seen games where he looks amazing, and then we've seen games where he looks like a whole different player. So McEwen needs to be that player where he can assist Marcus Howard, he can assist Sakar Annam, and if he can do that, this Marquette team is going to do fine throughout the next, 4 games. And then in the Big East play, I think they should do fine in the tournament, and then we'll see what happens from there. But McEwen is a big piece of this team, much bigger than I think people realize.
And then this is a question for everyone at home. How worried do you think those MUBB fans should be about their team right now?
Yeah, I think they should be really nervous, because this team, again, just like last season, I thought they were going to be peaking at the right time this year, but like last year, they are starting to hit this slide right at the end of the season that's putting them just into a downward spiral. So I think Marquette fans, you should be really nervous. I don't think this team's going to go far at all. Maybe they'll prove me wrong. I don't know, but we'll see what happens. That's really all we can say, but this team definitely not peaking at the right time.
And I definitely don't disagree with their Marquette. Again, we saw it back in 2019. They had a rough end of the season. They're kind of showing some similarities. However, they still have 4 more games. You know, they play Seton Hall on Senior Day. Just, I know we're kind of jumping ahead here, but with Seton Hall, you got Miles Powell coming in. He's the Big East frontrunner for Player of the Year. Do you see Marquette being able to squeak away their Senior Day with Marcus Howard and Sakar Annam being honored or anything?
I don't know, Jack. I really don't, because Miles Powell, he is just a force to be reckoned with. So it's going to be really, really tough, especially with the way Marquette's playing right now. I think Miles Powell is going to absolutely dominate. But, hey, Marquette could prove me wrong again. I got Seton Hall winning this one 71-65. So.
All right. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me, as always.
And that just about does it for us tonight.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to tune in every Monday at 7 for more editions of Golden Eagle Sports Report. Signing off, I'm Jack Phillips.
And I'm Molly Getzlack. Good night, Marquette.